Alright, so basically, this is a 2021 CRF50. As you can see, it doesn't look quite like the normal CRF50s because our plan is to make it essentially, if Honda were to release a CRF50L from factory, that's the goal with this build. So I'll kind of walk you through it quickly and explain what I've done so far, what the plan is for today, and then the plan to make it street legal and you can follow along, with this build if you want. So let's take a look at it. Alright, so I'm in a rolly chair, so you might hear some rolls. So here's what we got. First thing you'll probably notice is the wheels. So these are off well, they're not off anything, but you can just get them. They're Z50 wheels. They are 3.5 by 8 front and rear. And then these tires are just Z50 tires, 3.5 by 8. Those will be getting changed. I'm not going to tell you what they're getting changed to yet because it's a surprise. But so those are the wheels and tires. And for those to work, you have to also run different hubs, which do fit. The only issue you're going to run into with the rear is, if you can see this, right in there, the little stock, whatever you want to call it, nipple, whatever, that goes into, let me see, this little catch here, just barely fits. The brakes work. I mean, I'm sure if I tighten this up a little bit, it's snug in there more, but I don't know if you can see, it just barely fits. Okay, so that's one thing you got to keep in mind. Other than that, spacers, let me see. Oh my God, this is annoying. Lines up perfectly with the right spacers. Pretty straightforward. And it fits. Oh my God, how did I fucking lock this camera? Alright, so I had to fix that. But anyway, so the wheel fits pretty easily, and you have chain adjustment. So no issue there, different sprocket. Right, that's the first thing. Second thing, which is pretty important for this setup to work. Holy shit. Alright. Second thing, which is pretty important for this setup to work. If you can tell, these are not the stock CRF50 forks. Those, oh my God, this camera's pissing me off, are right here. Not as wide. It's literally basically the only difference between the forks. So these are about half an inch shorter and they're wider. So this way you can fit these bigger, wider rims. They're not centered, but you can see they fit. So another thing you might notice is this says Amigo. Why would it say Amigo on a Honda? So this is actually a 125cc 4-speed engine with a little clutch action, and that came out of this. Oh my God, this camera, bro. So that engine came out of this. This is a 2022 Amigo Rocky 125. As you can see, it's completely stripped. I'll be putting a different engine in that. You can see I already swapped the bars for, straight bars. The ones that comes with, I don't know how anybody ever, let me show these up here. I don't know how people use these. I hate these bars. I mean, they're kind of comfortable, but just, I'm used to like dirt bikes, sport bikes, whatever. So these bars suck. That's all you need to know. These bars are terrible. Garbage. All right. So another important thing, dude. Sorry if anybody's watching this camera. It's gonna make me freak out. This. See this right here? This is very important. Very, 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 very important. And I'm going to show you why in 1 second. Okay, let's talk about forks for probably 5 minutes, because this is going to take a while. Don't mind my feet. So what you're looking at on your left, stock CRF50F front forks. They're the same from the XRs all the way up. There's literally no difference, okay? They're meant to run these. These are 10-inch, I want to say they're 10 by 2.15 in the front. They're meant to run those wheels, the tires, or they might be 2.5, or I'm just running 2.5 tires on them, right? This is what you see on a lot of CRF50, Supermoto builds, the 10s with just street tires. I don't like that look. I don't think it looks proportionate to what an actual, shrunken down CRF50 Supermoto would look like. So anyway, stock forks. These are aftermarket forks for a Z50. It says Z50 in the ad. I'll throw up a picture right here somewhere on the screen. But yeah, so they could probably work on a Z50R. But a couple issues. One, I don't own the Z50R. I own a CRF50. So stock forks CRF50 can only fit not a super wide wheel, 10-inch, right? Not very good. These can fit the 8-inch wheel that you want to run. However, they're a little bit taller, as you can probably tell. It's hard to tell, like 1.5 inches, maybe even 2 inches taller. So that's an issue, because I'm running stock swing arm and I haven't done an upgraded shock in the rear. So it makes it, sit really weird. So that's issue number one. Issue number two, these just suck, okay? I'm not sure if it's because the rake, they don't really compress that well. I had a really hard time lining up the front disc brake. They're garbage. They'll fit up fine if you're maybe running a taller shock and extended swing arm on a CRF50. Maybe go with those. They suck. Those were like $165. Don't waste your money. Garbage. Okay. Now let's get into what was so annoying about doing this. I should have just done it from the first place. So, stock CRF50 triple clamp right there where my finger is. You can swap that out. Keep your stock forks. You can run a Pro Taper tall bar kit, right? This is pretty nice. It lets you run taller bars because the stock CRF51 is welded to this, or it's welded to something. I don't know. You literally can't swap bars unless you do that. Okay. So CRF50 done. Okay. We're not running those forks. We don't care about this crap. Originally I was going to. I didn't like how that wheel looked. Stupid. Waste of money. Don't do it. Unless you want to do it. Then, do whatever you want. So then I went this route. I said, sweet. Whatever. Fork's a little bit taller. It actually says they're, in the ad, I don't think it says they're taller. I think it says they're the same, which I assumed would be the same as that. But they're not for the Z50R. They're for, I think, the CT70. So they are taller. Okay? So this is going to be a lot of ranting because I want, if you don't have to waste money, don't waste money. So just take all this in. These are taller than the CRF50 forks, but they are not, or they are also taller than, let me show you this over here. These are 1995 Z50R front forks, which are actually, hold up, and they bolt right up. I'll get into detail. They're actually, I want to say maybe 1/2 inch shorter than these, which I like. Okay, so I went with these. Disc brake, great, whatever. Oh, it was great. Oh, amazing. It wasn't amazing because this, I assumed, would work for these. It does not. You cannot run this top triple clamp plate, which is from BBR. you know, not cheap. It's like 70 bucks maybe. Okay. This will not work with those. It won't work. There's a difference. I don't know what the actual difference is, but where the fork, I don't remember if the forks are too skinny or they just don't line up. It just seems a little sketchy. Will not work with these cheap garbage forks. Okay. So I bought that thinking that would work. Didn't work. Okay. Stock Z50R triple clamp. I don't think I ever actually tested that because I just got these forks. So disregard this. This is the stock thing that came on these. Sorry, I'm getting used to this camera. Boom, stock, right? But I need to switch that to run those bars. So anyway, don't worry about this. Okay, this is just to show you everything you're looking at here. Okay, so I bought that. Didn't work with those. I said, okay, you know, WTF. This is the stock plate that comes on these stupid Chinese front forks. Comes on those. Oh my God, this camera, bro. It comes on those, right? Okay. Now, if you just want to run this and run different, you know, top bars, you can. What you're going to need to get, and I'll show you, is these. These are kept speed. I think they're just called bar risers, and they reposition where your bars sit. So they bolt in here, but then they scoot them over, I want to say half an inch maybe on each side. So you can run the taller bars on this, you know, stock Chinese triple clamp. It's pretty straightforward. That's all you need. These are like 60 bucks. Totally worth it if you have this triple clamp already. Okay. So the issue, those are your issues. I think I covered everything. Basically, if you want to do this swap, this is kind of where it gets annoying. So don't buy those unless you have a extended swing arm and a taller shock. I honestly just wouldn't recommend buying them at all. I hate them. Big waste of money. Okay, so let me just recap. These will only work with these with no aftermarket handlebars. These will work with the CRF50 things with aftermarket 7/8 handlebars. These BBR, I believe, BBR will not work with these Chinese Z50 front forks. They'll only work with the Z50R OEM forks. They do work, just not for that. Stock Z50R triple clamp might work with the kept speed. Might work with those kept speed ones over there. Not even worth talking about. Any questions just specifically about this, let me know. There might have been something I missed. And then this is just the same thing that's on that CT70 I showed you. You can use the kept speed bar risers, and they push them in, so you can use the 7/8 bars. What I did, oh my God, yeah, you're gonna be looking at my legs, perfect. All right, what I did was, I believe this is from Faster Minis. You'll recognize that. If you're looking for it, just type in C50R billet triple clamp, right? You'll find it. So all billet, sick piece, lines up with the Z50R OEM front forks. This all fits. It's machined very well. This lets you run the 7/8 bars with the Z50R OEM front forks, which in turn lets you run, I'm out of breath from talking, the Z50 8-inch wheels, which are super wide, super fat, and I still have to get some spacers and get a front thing in there. But that's going to be your most important thing, and I'm sweating in here already, if you want to run that. Okay? Yeah. There's a lot of talking. A lot of sweating. So I lost my train of thought.